Executive Director Wynand Jacobs. Kia ora, thanks for your time today.
Kia ora, Andrew. Always good to be here.
When it comes to the marriage, I suppose going back to the wedding day, happy ever after is what we're thinking about. I'm going to be happy because I'm marrying them. They're going to be happy because they're marrying me. That it does all seem to be focused on ourselves and each other at that point. But at some stage beyond the honeymoon, having a more outward focus is helpful.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, Andrew. The Bible sort of begins with the marriage, and it also ends with the marriage. And right there in the middle, guess what we find? Another marriage.
Yeah.
So I'd say marriage is first of all, it's a big deal. It's a key theme in the Bible, and it's a key story, an analogy that God actually uses to relate to us, his children, his bride. We are, as Christians, being prepared as a bride for Christ, for the groom. And so marriage is our first sort of attempt here on earth to live what the gospel really means, what it means that Christ came to reunite us, mankind, to God, the Father. And he does that through marriage.
Now that may
So
be
marriage is sort of a big deal, and it's a key principle to the gospel.
That may be a different definition than what some people thought. They may have thought, hey, I didn't sign up for this. But actually looking at the bigger picture, marriage on a mission, how would you define that? What's that about, Wynand?
Yeah, and so it's this thing where, at Family Life, we say that we exist to help families grow together and also impact their corner of the world.
Yeah.
And so through a lot of our weekends and content and things we do, we help families grow because we believe that firstly, if you have a thriving marriage, that is a living, walking demonstration of the type of love that God has for us.
Yeah.
But the second aspect, and which is why we don't want to stop there, is we believe that family is one of the most untapped resources for bringing about good in the world, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where you grow together and you can also bring impact to your corner of the world. Your marriage was never actually meant to end with you.
Okay.
And this is the thing, right? I think a lot of challenges we even face in this relationship of marriage become more difficult to deal with if we just focused inward on ourselves. Mm-hmm. The moment we lift up our eyes and we have a more eternal or an external focus, it has a way of actually uniting us around a common mission, and then it actually strengthens our marriage. And so this is why the call to action we have, and we're talking to couples about, is around this thing of your marriage has a mission, and what is the mission of your marriage? And that might look different for different people, but I think there's also a common mission that we all carry as Christians, as believers who are married.
Now, this isn't either or. This is not saying, well, instead of focusing in on having a satisfying and happy marriage where we are blessing and loving each other. No, instead of doing that, we're going to have this outward focus. No, it is from that blessing that the outward focus grows. It's not pick a team, it's and both, right?
Exactly. And I think what we're also saying here and what we're trying to communicate is when we think about the gospel and mission and missionaries, maybe in the traditional sense of the word, it was often thought that a missionary is someone who was called and then sent, right? So maybe you have your group of believers, the church, and they would send a missionary to an unreached people group.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Less than 50% of New Zealand would consider themselves as Christians, believers, followers of Christ. So I'd say, in our reality here in New Zealand, we don't necessarily have to cross the sea to become a missionary. We just have to see the cross and realize that we can become missionaries in our own backyard. And this is really what we're calling couples into at this stage, and specifically this year, is your marriage can be on mission to reach your neighborhood. Why don't you become everyday, ordinary missionaries in your own backyard?
Now, for some people, their idea of missionary may be freaking them out a little bit here, but really what you're saying, if I understand it correctly, is that living a Christ-filled marriage in relationship and in communication and in community with other people, that's what being a marriage missionary or a marriage on a mission looks like.
Yes, and that is a part of the picture. Unfortunately, I think a lot of what we experience in at least Western church culture society today is we have made Christianity a spectator sport.
Yeah.
We come and sit and we look at the pastor or those in full-time ministry doing the discipleship work. Whereas actually, when we were called to follow Jesus, we were called to be his disciples.
Yeah.
And as a disciple, we are also told to go and share this good news with all people everywhere.
And make disciples, right?
That's a disciple, and it's the Great Commission. So, we need to ask ourselves, what qualifies us to partake in the Great Commission? Do we need to be a so-called super Christian or have everything perfect?
Yeah.
And my response to that would be simply no, because if you read Matthew 28, where Jesus says, where he sends his disciples, the Great Commission, the famous Great Commission verse where he says, go into all the world, make disciples of all people, all nations. Just before that, it talks about the disciples gathering there and they worshipped him and some doubted. Now, hang on a minute. We've got 12 disciples who saw Jesus in the flesh.
Yeah.
They saw him die. They saw him in the flesh, risen. And there they were, and some of them doubted.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I don't know about you, but as strong as my faith is, I have some doubts someday.
Yeah, exactly.
But my doubts does not disqualify me from God actually choosing to send me to actually reconcile the world to him. And so it's really a call to action. As a marriage, is there a mission? How can our marriage, first of all, thrive and communicate the gospel? But second of all, how can we learn how to share the gospel, initiate spiritual conversations? And it's a matter of sharing the good news of Jesus. Yeah. We don't have to do the work. We recognize that he has done the work. And I'm basically a hungry beggar that have found some bread. Yeah. And I'm telling other people where to go find the bread. And that simplifies things.
We certainly don't need to have a perfect marriage or even have all of our theology sorted out. We can be on that journey by the power of the Holy Spirit. Hey, looking forward to jumping more deeply into this in the weeks ahead. In the meantime, though, we'd encourage people to find out more about the ministry of Family Life, familylife.nz. Wynand, thank you so much for the work that you and the team do. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And just to mention on that note, as we close, Andrew, later this year, like you mentioned, we'll do a series on Marriage on Mission, but later this year, we also have a conference on Marriage on Mission during Marriage Week. So invite listeners to check that out on the website and we can talk more about that.
Yeah,
thanks, Andrew.
Very good indeed. Familylife.nz for more info. Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.